The sky's falling. The sky is falling. The Lions lose to the Packers week 1. Okay, Chicken Little, calm down. Let's Talk Lions. Woo! Welcome back to an all-new episode here at Let's Talk Lions. Boy, people are already losing their mind. First and foremost, let's just be clear. And let's have a little moment of honesty here. That was abysmal. I don't know if I've seen the Lions play that bad of a game since maybe against the Ravens. And that was, 2 years ago, where we just didn't show up offensively. I think in that game, we might have only put up 6 or somewhere around there. Like, I remember 2 field goals against Baltimore. And that game was very reminiscent of it, where you just get clapped. You get waxed. You get absolutely, truly embarrassed by said opponent. And let's just face it, Green Bay, they knew exactly what they were doing. They had a game plan. They executed, whereas we looked worse than I have seen in 2 years, and very reminiscent of that Baltimore game. Huge bummer. So how did I feel? A lot like Matthew McConaughey in Interstellar.
No! 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 No!
Yeah, that's pretty much how I felt the entirety of the game. It was disgusting. I mean, quite frankly, Green Bay, well done in the execution. Green Bay's O-line just played phenomenally in that first half. The way that they, and really the fullness of the game, but they protected Jordan Love the entirety of the game. But in that first half, especially that first drive, second drive, even into that third drive, they couldn't run the ball. Could not run the ball. The run defense for the Lions really held up well. Josh Jacobs didn't look like the Josh Jacobs that we saw really a lot through last year. And it's not anything of his doing. It was just the Lions' run D was solid. It was there. Meanwhile, Jordan Love had enough time to bake a friggin' cake with a little iron in it, if you know what I mean. My man just sat in the back and just watched, let the plays develop. Our pass rush could not get there. Za'Darius could not get there at all. And with that, Jordan Love and the Packers just had nothing but time. Nothing but time. And with that time, Jordan Love was able to execute. He had a few missed throws. You know, he overthrew the one guy early in the game. But then you look at him and he thread that needle to Kraft. But Lions making a lot of mistakes. I watched Terrion get burnt early. But really what happens is in the second half is where we adjusted. And that's oftentimes what happens here. But the Lions did find a way to adjust. It was just offensively we didn't. We did not adjust. We did not change. And I think the biggest story here is the storyline of the offensive line does hit as hard as was anticipated. So if anybody has Frank Ragnow's number, please send it this way because I'm just going to start dialing every phone number in the great state of Minnesota. I'm just gonna start going through it until I get Frank on the horn. And quite frankly, if Campbell did not text the man on the way home or call him on the way home from that game, I'd be shocked because that is a get your butt back to Detroit, dear God. We need you. Mahogany just slipping all over the place. Tate Ratledge, that's a tough first game to come in and go into Lambeau, Glasgow, like the whole bit. Even Sewell, like there were a lot of plays where you're just like the Packers defensive line showed up and they showed up big time, and they absolutely they were juiced, man. They're juiced with the Micah Parsons situation, and quite frankly, they just looked good and they executed. And Detroit did not. Again, defensively, I think we really adjusted. But, like, what were the two nails in the coffin of this game? Because I didn't feel like we were out of it really until we hit that fourth quarter. Because offensively, we weren't going. But the nails in the coffin, I think, were that interception at the end of the half when Lions just need to put up something. Lions need to put up something. Don't even get 3. You throw a pick. Really, that was tough. That was tough because we needed some points there, followed by you go into that second half, and I'm just like, the Brian Branch pick that gets called back because Rock Ya-Sin I believe that's how you pronounce his last name, he gets called for that holding. And obviously Hutch with the personal foul. Didn't love that one. I think that was kind of Bush League. But whatever. Doesn't matter. The holding penalty is what does it. And with that, that pick six comes back. And that's the type of thing where you get that turnover, right? You get that turnover plus 6. And so, like, now the Lions are back in this game. For that to get called back on Rock Yassin, you're like, there it goes. There it goes. And that's a momentum shift and killer. But I will say the Lions finding how to bring pressure in that second half, that's what we needed. Because really, the Packers bringing up 17 points, like, that's where they were driving that first half of the game in the air. Just driving and picking us apart. And it's because we could not get pressure to Love. And if you can't get pressure to the quarterback, you see what happens. He has all day. He's standing back there. He's waiting the plays develop. And the DBs can only do so much. They can only do so much. And it all falls apart very quickly. And they were juiced, man. And again, I didn't feel out of it until we hit that fourth quarter. Like, even though the offense did not do anything and they were more stagnant than a dead fish on the side of a lovely walk along the beach, I didn't feel out of it. Because we've seen time and time again how this offense can roll and you got the right pieces. But we seemed ill-prepared. We seemed disorganized. And honestly, like we did not drink a Capri Sun before the game to get juiced up. There was just something about it. And hats off to Green Bay. They found a way. They made that game... They made that game into something and gave their fans really something to enjoy. But what you got to know is, for those of you who are the sky is falling, what is going through your brain? I don't understand. Do you... 50% of the NFL is 0-1 right now, and we're in that percentile. Okay, big deal. I don't think that there's a lot of cause for concern from this game. You learn. You move on. Let's go. Look at the tape. Figure out what you did. O-line, let's learn how to protect Goff, because you see Goff under pressure. There's no time, nothing to develop. Hey, and you got to give Green Bay's D-line credit, and also their DBs. Their secondary, the linebacker core, like, they found a way to lock us down, lock the boys down, lock St. Brown down. But Laporta, hey, nice to see you having a heck of a day. That was enjoyable. But it was check down city out there. The amount of checkdowns, I was getting ready to vomit. I couldn't handle another check down. It felt... That was so ugly. According to Next Gen Stats, Lions ball carriers hit behind the line of scrimmage by a Packers defender on 16 of their 22 carries in the game, about 72%. And I'm looking at that through Yahoo Sports. That is a problem. That is a huge problem. The O-line situation has to be adjusted and fixed. Hank Fraley, as the O-line coach, really got to figure this one out and how to get the boys prepped and prepared, because, bro, we're going up against the Chicago Bears now at home. Now, if there is something, for those of you, hey, the sky is falling, the world is ending, the Lions suck, we're screwed, calm down. Anyways, if there is anything good, the Lions haven't lost back-to-back games in quite some time. And that kind of gives me a little bit of hope, and that's a record I hope we can continue onward. But let's just talk about Isaac Tesla. One good thing that came out of this freaking game, that touchdown, one hand pulling it in, toe taps, heel taps. Like, what a way to make the game look like a game. For anybody who looked and just goes, oh, what is that, 27-13? Oh, okay. It was not. That's garbage time. That's 55 seconds left in the game. But hey, it's Isaac Tesla's first touchdown in his career in Lambeau nonetheless. It was beautiful. Loved it. But dude, listen, man, this was tough. In fact, it looks like I'm getting a call right now.
What's up, Jay? My name is Jackson. I'm a longtime listener of the show, man. Big fan. Been listening since the early days, since when the Detroit Lions were still awful. And look, man, rough game yesterday. Just wanted to air a couple of grievances before I head into work and be surrounded by my friends who are Green Bay Packers fans. So it's going to be a rough day. But look, man, obviously a rough game yesterday. I think the biggest thing that we're all thinking about is the offensive play calling. If I'm being honest, I know it's been one game, but I believe there's serious cause for concern, and let me tell you why.
Okay.
Obviously when you have a quarterback like Jared Goff, you got to do things to help this guy out. I can remember a specific play, I think in the second quarter, where It was second and long. Goff took the snap, stepped up into the pocket. The play blew up, and it was as if the heavens opened up, and everyone could see the first down marker right in front of them. And 31 out of 32 quarterbacks in the NFL run for that first down easy, but not Goff because he can't. And that's okay. The guy has strengths and weaknesses. But when that's your QB, you got to do things to help him. All day long, that interior offensive line is getting blown up.
True.
And what we didn't see is any kind of adjustments. When nothing's working, when you're getting blown up the middle, there's things that you can do to help your QB, such as work out of the shotgun, get some bootlegs, roll Goff out, throw some screen passes, pull some offensive linemen out to get blocking. We didn't see any of that, man. We saw the same stubborn offense out of the 1990s where you're running up the middle constantly and getting blown up and it's not even working. My girlfriend on the couch, who doesn't even watch football, was saying things like, why do they keep doing that? God bless her. But when that's happening, you know you got a problem. So, I mean, look, it's one game. It's easy to criticize being a fan because we don't actually know football. But at some point, man, I've been watching football for 30 years and I know what I'm seeing. Yeah. And what's really concerning as a fan, and I know that a lot of Lions fans feel this way, is that losing Ben Johnson, we knew that we were going to lose some of that flashiness, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But I think every single fan in the back of their mind was thinking, man, I really hope they don't come out and they look milk toast, And that's exactly what we saw, man. There were so many plays when all four receivers ran hook routes. They would run out 10 yards, turn around, and literally stand there as Goff either threw it away or got sacked.
Yeah.
And it looked like the kind of offense that was designed to make a rookie QB feel comfortable. And that's not what we have. We have too much offensive talent to be running an offense like that. So, look, I mean, let's give it another week. Let's see what they look like week 2. But I'm telling you, man, if we see that again, there's going to be a lot of noise surrounding Johnny Morton in this offense because we have an embarrassment of riches, and we don't have time to wait until this works. Our window is now. Wow. We need to get an offensive mind who's going to take advantage of these assets. So those are my thoughts, man. Obviously, rough game. Big fan of the show. Let's go Lions, baby. Peace.
Jackson, appreciate it. Appreciate all the thoughts right there. I love what you said, embarrassment of riches. We're literally Smaug sitting upon the pile of gold in the lonely mountain. And if we cannot capitalize, right, like we should be capitalizing on that, it's embarrassing. And you're not wrong. To know that, first of all, Jackson, appreciate you calling into the show. Appreciate you really giving me your thoughts there. And I'm sorry that you got to go sit down with a bunch of Packers fans. That might be call-in sick worthy. Or do you just put your head down, say, screw you, love you as a person, but I hate your team. That's what you do. And you only bring in cheese to work in order to really show them you don't care. Nah, bro, you're absolutely right. Milk toast is a great word for it. And you did see multiple times where they're running hook routes and the guys are literally just stopping. And even that play in the end zone where you watch St. Brown and he just stops in the end zone and you're kind of just watching that's it. And for all four guys just stopping. And there is a level of being what are we doing? Are we trying to simplify it too much? Are the tweaks that have been made, they're not good enough? And for week 1 to come out looking like that, as stagnant as it was, is embarrassing. It was just embarrassing. And for your girlfriend to be saying, why are we still doing this? That's the question of every American on their couch last night. There was just a level of being why? Why? Are we trying to impose our will? It felt like we were just trying to impose our will on the ground and say, no, we're the Detroit Lions and we still have Gibbs and Monty, even though Monty's usage was so limited. And we just said we're running it with Gibbs, but we couldn't get anywhere. And the O-line collapsed like it was a game of Jenga being played by a couple 6-year-olds. And you're like, you could barely even build that tower. And all they do is knock it down. It was embarrassing, and you really got to hope that the recoup going into week 2 at home, our home opener, welcoming Ben Johnson back home, we got to look different. We got to look different because that was stagnant. That was just ugly, and in every capacity. And so you're right, man. To Jackson, I appreciate that because Ben Johnson watched that game yesterday and is dialing up some of the dirtiest plays you and I have ever seen to really ream us and just shove it down our throat and say, yeah, I was that guy. I was him. And he's one of the best offensive brains in the game. So Johnny Morton has gotta really start situating this. And let's be honest, we're playing Chicago, we're playing Baltimore, and then it's the Browns, and we could very well be 0-3 heading into that game with Cleveland, because I've got us on a loss against Baltimore. So Chicago, based on what I saw last week, there's got to be a huge turnaround. Again, the Lions haven't lost 2 games in a row in quite some time, but that was also with Ben Johnson at the helm. That was also with, and you know what? Dan Campbell talked about it. Hey, we started out 1-6 a few years ago and almost made the playoffs, and not that we're like okay with that. Not that that's an okay thing, but I look and I'm like, there's still time. Everything's okay. And even like Jackson saying, just being like, it's fine. It's week 1, but there's also this level of the Super Bowl window is now. And when you've got this caliber of a roster, you got to go get it. So it's only week 1. It sucks that it was the Packers and that it's an interdivision rival. But all in all, I think that everything's going to be just fine. But you're right, Johnny Mo's going to be on the hot seat if we cannot figure this out within the next 3 weeks. So, Jackson, appreciate you calling in. Glad to get you on the show here. And for anybody else who wishes to call in, my number at the bottom of the screen, and we'll get you on the show. And you can air your frustrations about whatever it is we just saw. That is it. That is it for today. Enjoy. Man, remember when we used to say enjoy Victory Monday every week? 15 weeks last year. Well, is what it is. We'll see you as we prepare for the Bears.